Hey guys, Sandy with the Rad Company, and if you're watching this video, you're probably wondering, is there such thing as too much bead maker? So we're going to be answering that question and more in today's FAQ video. So how much is too much of a good thing? Well, we all know bead maker is a short-term spray sealant that requires a very heavy first coat and then supplementing it with smaller sprays after every single wash or however you like to do it to keep the protection up. Now, here's the problem. We love spraying bead maker. We love spraying it so much that we typically always do a heavy coat when we're using it because we want our car to be slick and we want it to be glossy and ultimately we want it to be protected. But here's the deal. It is easy to spray too much of this stuff. It's easy to go overkill because when you're spraying bead maker, you're like, well, why the hell not? It's really affordable. I have a lot of it and a little goes a long way, but let's face it, I like spraying a whole lot. So here's what I think, right? Bead maker is fantastic, but when you start to put too much of it on, you will start having streaking issues, right? The product will begin building up too much. And there's a lot of people that are probably watching this video that have protection on top of their protection, on top of their protection, on top of their protection, on top of, I've said this plenty of times, right? Too much protection is a bad thing, right? Even when it's different styles of protection, it's a bad thing. And when you have a ton of bead maker being one thing or two things or whatever you have stacked up with bead maker, that could also be a bad thing. And so the idea behind bead maker is to quite simply do a heavy application, and then every wash you're going to want to supplement that with a couple sprays as a drying aid or just to touch things up as necessary. But here's the deal. This lasts 3 months. You can use it every week, you can use it every month, however you like to use it to keep the protection going, but ultimately this is gonna last like 3 months, so you're already protected. So really you're just using bead maker because you like using bead maker, and I think the first step is admitting that. So what are the negative effects of too much bead maker? Well, quite simply, number one is streaking, and we've talked about that here before on the channel. That is going to be the number one effect, right? But we find that the streaking is kind of the start of what could be more and more product buildup, right? Because you see a streak, right? Your first impression or your first idea is to add more to that area and try to level it out, right? You already have too much. Now you're adding more into the pot, and then you're gonna add more, and it just keeps going on and on. So what other products could you use as a drying aid to supplement that to keep things from continual streaking? Well, something like a waterless wash is great. You could also use O&R diluted like clay lube dilution. There's a couple other products out there that you can use for that process. Just stay away from products that are gonna add more and more protection, because basically you're just gonna be chasing streaks at that point and it's not gonna be fun. But ultimately, that's the worst thing that's gonna happen, is that you're gonna have a lot of streaking, you're gonna have too much product buildup, and your car may look like crap out in direct sunlight. So keep it to a minimum. Basically, if you can do a heavy coat and then follow up with short-term coats after that, perfect, right? Do something, a couple sprays, supplement some stuff in between, and then call it good. You can stack other products with bead maker. You can kind of mix and match whatever you'd like, but you'll have to see what works best for you and what products like to play well with each other. We've tested lots of products, but we can't speak for everything. So if you're asking me and say, hey Anthony, I use bead maker with this quick detail, or I use bead maker with this spray wax and I'm getting streaking, do you know why? Probably because you have too much protection in general. That's probably the answer why. And if you get to the too much protection part, back off, let the protection kind of dwindle or kind of fade with some time, right? Or you can start over by polishing that area, or you can take some isopropyl alcohol and wipe it down to see if you can knock down some of that protection off. But ultimately you have too much on there. So long story short, yes, there is such a thing as too much bead maker, which I know it's hard to believe. We don't want to believe it, but it's true, and we have to accept it, and we have to embrace it, and we have to move on and continue to use it just in smaller amounts. So hopefully you guys found this information useful with your ventures into bead maker and the continual use of using this to protect your car, make it shiny, make it glossy, make it feel really, really good. So if you guys like this video, make sure to give us a big thumbs up, subscribe down below for more, and stay tuned for more videos right here at the Rad Company.